evening's video, where tonight we will be taking a look at all of my PS5 and PS4 games. As I'm sure if you've been watching the channel recently, you may know that I recently, for my birthday, got a PlayStation 5. It was actually Bella, my girlfriend, that got me the PlayStation, so you know, massive thanks to Bella really. So I thought we could just take a look at a few of them, talk about the games, and just have a pretty chilled evening talking about some games I've been playing recently. And let me know down in the comments, what have you been playing recently. I've also been playing a lot of Overwatch on my Xbox. I recently got into Masters in all 3 roles, so I'm pretty stoked about that. But anyways, maybe we could do like an Overwatch video sometime in the future, or you know, just stream Overwatch, because I know I keep on saying I want to get back into streaming, and people, you know, when I do mention it, you know, streaming, and I mention I play Overwatch, people are like, wait, why don't you just stream Overwatch? That's a good idea. I think I could just stream Overwatch at some point, so hopefully in the near future I'll be feeling more up to things to get streaming again. But anyways, let's get into tonight's video, and let's start out with a pretty relevant game, a game that's had a lot of talk about recently in media, and that is The Last of Us. The Last of Us Part 1. Also, apologies if there's a lot of background noises. For some reason, there's cars, tons of cars driving today. There's builders building in our house and a house next door, and the guy downstairs is on a phone call. It's all going off right now, so I do apologise. So, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about The Last of Us recently. Even if you don't play games, you've most likely heard about The Last of Us adaptation into a TV show, and that is absolutely phenomenal. I'm sure a lot of you have probably are probably watching it, or have already watched all of it, because all of the episodes are out now. It does stay true to the game story, but has its own characters and elements and plot lines, which I think benefit the TV series overall. I don't think it adds any negatives in any way. There's no point in having a one-to-one retelling, you know. If the game exists, well then what would be the point of the TV series if it didn't do its own thing? So, The Last of Us is a zombie-like, I say zombie-like because they're not actually zombies. In this game, they're zombie-like creatures called infected. And you have to survive in this post-apocalyptic world, where pretty much the world collapsed and ended in just overnight because of this fungal infection. So you play as Joel. He's a what do you call it? He's a not a raider, not a scavenger, not a trader. He's a not a dealer. He's a oh my god, what is it they're called, where they like do transfers and anyways, he does dodgy stuff basically, and really in this world you gotta do dodgy things to survive. And so he's trying to find his brother Tommy. And he's been doing some deals, you know, to get his car battery to leave the quarantine zone that he's in, to go find his brother. But things go a little bit wrong. The deal kind of, you know, doesn't go the way he wants it to. And so to get what he wants, he's tasked with taking this girl, Ellie, across the US. To a a Firefly University base where she's to be examined on, basically. This isn't a spoiler, by the way. It's literally like the whole plot of the game. She's basically immune to the whole virus. And so yeah, they basically need to get her to a Firefly base zone, and the Fireflies are basically like this rebellion. They're fighting against the Federal Army, basically control the US at this point. And so yeah, Joel has to get Ellie to one of their bases where they can hopefully, possibly find a cure for humanity. But the game itself is much less like the plot of the game. The game itself is about love and building relationships, and it has this very beautiful father-daughter dynamic. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a really special game to a lot of people. This is the remake. So there was the original Last of Us that came out on the PlayStation 3, and then you had the remaster on the PlayStation 4, and this is the remake. So the remaster was kind of just like an update in like HD, and this is basically a whole graphical overhaul, and it is easily the best looking game I have ever played. Stunning. Like the amount of times about it, and I just went wow when just stopping and taking in the scenery and the graphic. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful game. So yeah, the graphics can now complement the story, the beautiful story, and a lot of people still like the original like style, because actually the original game still actually kind of holds up in itself. Yeah, sure, some things do look kind of outdated, and I'm sure in like another 5-10 years, then yeah, it will start to definitely look a bit more aged. The original still looks great. The art direction is amazing, but this game, if you haven't seen clips on YouTube, search it up. It looks phenomenal. So I'll read a little bit on the back. Experience the emotional storytelling and unforgettable characters in The Last of Us, winner of over 200 Game of the Year awards, now rebuilt from the ground up for the PlayStation 5 console. In a ravaged civilization where infected and hardened survivors run rampant, Joel, a weary protagonist, is hired to smuggle. He's a smuggler. That's the word I was looking for. Is hired to smuggle 14-year-old Ellie out of a military quarantine zone. However, what starts as a small job soon transforms into a brutal cross-country journey. Includes the Last of Us single-player story and celebrated prequel chapter left behind. So yeah, it's got the DLC as well, and they actually included the DLC in the TV show, which I thought was great. And I saw a lot of people say it was their least favourite episode. I thought it was a great episode. I definitely think the worst episode was episode 4, after the Bill and Frank one. The Bill and Frank episode is one of the best ones, and then you get hit with such a filler episode. But yeah, one of the best stories I've experienced. However, there's a better story I've experienced, which is, if I could just get it, and that's The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I am a Last of Us Part 2 enjoyer, and I actually hold it in higher regard than Part 1. Yeah, I definitely know that is a controversial opinion. However, I do think The Last of Us Part 2 is becoming a lot more accepted, and people are starting to accept the game for what it is and realise what it means, and you know, people are replaying it and starting to understand it a little bit more. But the first reactions when the game dropped, I think, were acceptable and expected for people that, you know, grew up with the first game, literally growing up with it, with these characters for many years, and for Last of Us Part 2 to come out. I won't spoil it. Well, there's spoilers all over the internet now. Like every Last of Us video, like through as many emotions playing a game as I have with this one. And I always, you always see people make fun of games, It's kind of like with films. Films were never first seen as an art form when they first, came out. But now, film is more than seen as an art form. And I think games are now in that transition point where they're looked as more just, mindless things to do when you're bored. They are definitely looked more as an art form. And I think The Last of Us Part 2 is kind of a pioneer in that aspect. And The Last of Us Part 2 has put me through emotions and wavelengths of emotions that I don't think a film could ever do. I don't think a film could even come close to what I felt and went through playing this. I don't think a film could ever do that, and that definitely speaks volumes. That speaks many, many volumes. Really, I can't talk too much about this game without giving away spoilers, because I know the game's been out for like almost 3 years at this point, but still a lot of people haven't experienced it, especially with a TV show. There's a lot more new fans, so if you have, watched the TV show, I recommend playing The Last of Us Part 2 before experiencing it and watching it. I heard people say, oh, I don't want to play the games because it will spoil the TV show, and I was thinking, what? Surely you would want to play the games first and then watch the TV show. That's what I actually did. So I watched the first episode, and then we got a PlayStation, and we played all the way through part 1, and then immediately played all the way through part 2. This game comes around to 25 hours. The first one I think was around 15 hours, so 10 hours more. 10 hours of gameplay that I think some people aren't too happy with. I'm more than happy with the extra 10 hours. I mean, I would read the back of it, but I think it kind of gives away some spoilers. Yeah, it kind of, if I read the back of it, you can kind of get and grasp what happens, so I won't read the back of it. But yeah, if you've seen the TV series, if you don't have a games console, pick up a PlayStation 4. I'm sure you can get like a pre-owned one for like around 100. I know that's a lot still, but I think it is more than worth it to experience this game because it's on PlayStation 4, as you can see. I've heard they are going to do a PS5 like graphical upgrade one, which is, well, this game already looks phenomenal, so be great when that comes out, and apparently it's going to be free upgrade as well, so it's pretty good. Yeah, I love everything they do with this game. I truly do. I really do hope they do make a third one. Neil, the game director, the creator behind The Last of Us, Neil Druckmann, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Anyways, he said they'll only do part 3 if they can find another love story to make. And I really, really hope they do, because it hasn't been confirmed yet. The Last of Us Part 3 has not been confirmed. They're busy right now creating the Last of Us multiplayer game, which apparently should come out this year. So who knows? There's probably not too much development behind Part 3 right now, but yeah, I really hope we can see it in a couple more years down the line. So yeah, Part 2, loved everything about this game. Definitely will play again, both of them again at some point soon, definitely. Okay, so the next game is the game that I've been playing the most on the PlayStation 5 right now, and that is Bloodborne. Now, if you've ever owned a PlayStation, you've probably heard, the name Bloodborne because yeah, if I tried to get back into Sekiro on the last boss, it's near impossible. Like, I could try, anyways, Sekiro's for another time. We'll talk about Bloodborne. So yeah, I played Sekiro, apologies. I've played Elden Ring, which is my favourite game in the Soulsborne series and one of my favourite games of all time. And the amount of times I heard people say Bloodborne is better than Elden Ring, that made me think, well, Bloodborne must be this phenomenal, flawless masterpiece. It's not really. There's a lot of flaws with this game. There's a lot of flaws. It's still amazing. But it's definitely not my favourite Soulsborne. I think people do love it for its combat. Again, the combat is good. It's not great in my opinion. I much prefer the more so, like, deliberate input in Dark Souls, where there's a lot more thought out, a lot more methodical. You think in advance what you're going to do. You do sort of do that in Bloodborne, but it's a lot more chaotic, just going spamming your way through, because it's a much more aggressive game than Dark Souls. And it doesn't feel as satisfying or rewarding or as engaging as I would want it to be. But I can see why people prefer this combat style over something like Dark Souls. I mean, I absolutely love the parry mechanic. The parrying in this game is definitely the best in all the Soulsborne I've played. I mean, it could be because it's the easiest parrying system, but yeah, using your gun to, parry incoming attacks just feels great, really. And there's not so much classes in this game, it's much more just specific trick weapons that you would prefer to use, and people are saying that this is the best weapon system in all the games. Again, I don't think that's true. The trick weapons are cool, but they do limit you quite a lot. People say that this game has the most variety in weapons, which I think is absolutely crazy to say when something like Elden Ring exists. But yeah, I do think, I have a theory that people say this is their favourite game and love this game as much as it is because it's their first game, like Soulsborne game. I do think that's actually quite true. I feel like people do, have a bias towards their first Soulsborne, and yeah, this was probably a lot of people's first one. Don't get me wrong, it's still great, but I would have Elden Ring over this, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1 probably, maybe even Sekiro over Bloodborne. Definitely not Dark Souls 2. No, Dark Souls 2 can stay down there. It's still, I can't express it, it's still a great game, but I think unfortunately for me, I think it was just a little bit too overhyped, because everyone who loved this game kept saying it was better than Elden Ring. I don't know how you can say that. Well, I guess I can. Actually, I can see how people would say this is their favourite Soulsborne game. Sure, I definitely can. But I guess I just prefer the others, and the way it was just overhyped for me. Like, a lot of the bosses as well the bosses in this game are naff. The bosses in Bloodborne are terrible. Beast bosses are not fun and engaging to go up against. It's this large hitbox punch machine that flails its arms and runs across the arena. That's all these beast bosses do. And you've got some other foot bosses that people think are some of the best in the series, like Father G. I don't even remember Father G's moveset. He was so easy to beat. Unfortunately, I think Ludwig, or however you want to pronounce his name, is one of the most overrated bosses of all time. Again, his first phase is a beast phase, where it's just flailing around mindlessly. This moveset isn't thought through enough, and his second phase, this is the first time I got to his second phase, I beat it first try. Very telegraphed swing movesets, again, very basic sword swing movesets. I think if I didn't go into this game with the overhypedness that from the people online, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Again, I would still rate Bloodborne an 8.5 out of 10. Like, 8.5 is still a fantastic score, but yeah, people really do ride this game till, till death, basically. Lady Maria though, Lady Maria's an S tier boss. Like, a boss like Lady Maria, fantastic. I haven't actually beat this game yet, so I'm still to do Child of Course, which I've heard a lot of things about. Hopefully he doesn't disappoint. And Kieran, I need to do the final boss basically, and I've done the secret ending where I've consumed like the I've consumed placentas. Is that what you consume? I was like, Bloodborne's the lore. I will tell you this: the lore and world of Bloodborne is fantastic. Easily some of the best level designs. I know I've shat on the bosses, but the level design is fantastic in this game. The lore, fantastic. The style, fantastic. So I do think people hold it in high regard, not because of the bosses, but because of the world experience, you know. And yeah, I don't think you should hold a Soulsborne game as high as you do because of the bosses. Yeah, that is a bit stupid, but I do think for me bosses have a lot of impact, and I feel like in a Soulsborne game you go through this fantastically designed level, and it accumulates in this grand boss battle. And with Bloodborne you go through a fantastic area and get met with the most mid boss of all time. And it happens again and again and again and again, and it's kind of like you don't feel accomplished when going through Bloodborne. It's like, well, I've gone through this area, and it kind of just flops at the end. But yeah, I feel like I've shat more on this game than what I give it praise, because I feel like everyone gives it praise, so I feel like someone needs to kind of put people in line and in place for this game. It's still fantastic, like an 8.5 out of 10. And maybe when I finish it, it becomes a 9 out of 10. Only time will tell. But I do want to finish it soon. Actually, I got stuck on Lawrence is his name, and again, it's basically a reskinned cleric beast. Again, another beast boss. I just don't like the beast bosses in this game. They all just feel so just meh and just to fight, you know. But yeah. Basically, I haven't really explained the story of Bloodborne because it is kind of hard to explain, but I'll read the back for you guys who don't actually know too much about Bloodborne and Soulsborne. So, hunt your nightmares, face your fears on the decaying streets of Yharnam in the critically acclaimed action RPG beloved by over 2 million players. Delve deeper into the nightmarish world of Bloodborne with the Old Hunters expansion, which includes new weapons, environments, and story. Yeah, I will say the Old Hunters DLC is probably the best DLC from Soft. Other DLCs I hold really high regard are actually Dark Souls 2 DLCs, the Ivory King and the Iron King. Ivory Crown, sorry. Ivory Crown and Iron Crown. Those two DLCs are fantastic. The Sunken Crown sucks ass. Dark Souls 1 DLC is fantastic. Actually, yeah, Dark Souls 1 DLC is really good. Dark Souls 3 is actually, you got the painted world of whatever it's called. That was actually pretty decent. And you got, you know, the not sunken city. You got the Ring City, which Ring City is okay. The boss is fantastic, but actually going through the Ring City, I wasn't the biggest fan of. And of course, you know, Sekiro doesn't have DLC, and we're waiting for Elden Ring DLC, which did get announced recently, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, I still think this is a essential must play if you're in a PlayStation, and if you love Soulsborne. This is one of the last ones I need to play. I still need to play Demon's Souls, and they had a remake for the PlayStation 5, so I will be picking that up pretty soon, actually, probably pretty soon. So Bloodborne, I know I've chatted a lot of shit about it, but I do love it. It's a brilliant game. Okay, so up next is actually a pretty recent game. It came out last month, and that is Hogwarts Legacy. Silk Song, if that ever comes out this year. I'm trying to think a couple of other games that could also go up. I've heard people say Dead Space remake, but I don't think they'll make the final cut. I'm sure there's a few other games. Final Fantasy, I think, is dropping this year, so that will definitely be up for Game of the Year, probably. But yeah, this will definitely be one of them. This is a fantastic game, such an engrossing, beautiful, enriching game. It says, "Live the Unwritten." Hogwarts Legacy is an immersive, open-world action RPG set in the world first. Wait, what? Let me repeat. Set in the world first introduced in the Harry Potter books. There we are. Now you can take control of the action and be at the centre of your own adventure in the Wizarding world. Your legacy is what you make of it. Explore an open world. The Wizarding world awaits you. Freely roam Hogwarts, Hogsmeade, the Forbidden Forest, and the surrounding overland area. Be the witch or wizard you want to be. Learn spells, brew potions, grow plants, and tend to magical beasts along your journey. Experience a new Wizarding world adventure. Experience a Wizarding world in an unexplored era to uncover a hidden truth from its past. So yeah, this game is set in like Victorian era. You can definitely add to the, I guess, vibe of the game. It feels very soothing, to say the least. I mean, although people kind of act like people do nowadays, you know, it's not really going for historical accuracy with its language, or, you know, how people acted, you know, however they acted back then. But yeah, this is just such a fun game just to explore, and exploration is something I really do hold high in regard to open world games. If I feel like I want to explore every like nook and cranny, like if I want to take my time with a game, then it's easily a good game in this. Yeah, I love taking my time in this game. And even if it's something like a silly little like a fetch quest, like you've got to find collectibles, I will spend like a good couple of hours just finding all the collectibles and then move on to the next thing. Like with games, I love having like little checklists and like collectibles to get, and there's tons of that to do here with Hogwarts Legacy. People may say it may get like repetitive, but I love the gameplay structure of this game. There's so many great and likeable characters, you know, with the students and the teachers as well, the professors. You know, engage in side quests with them. The dungeons were pretty unexpected but really enjoyable as well. And the fighting, I remember watching videos of the combat, and I thought, well, it looks very spammy, it doesn't really seem all that engaging or that, you know, difficult. But once you get into the combat, you'll find like combos and pattern attacks, and certain attacks are more effective against certain types of enemies and creatures, and it is actually quite a deep-rooted combat system, which is really enjoyable. And I've heard a lot of people kind of, you know, struggled with it at first, so that's pretty, you know, it's pretty refreshing to see that. That's not just like a spammy trigger, you know, spam game. And you can have like a multiple selection of different like wand attacks at your disposal, so you can like switch freely, you know, on the go basically, which is pretty good. So it does limit you, but not like too limiting, you know, in your spells. I heard a lot of people complain that there weren't too many spells in the game, but I think at the same time it's good to kind of keep it compact and kind of limited, because you don't want to give you like a whole array and just kind of overwhelm, you know, the player and kind of like confuse them up. You know, I feel like it could be a little bit too confusing if there were too many spells. I don't know, maybe with DLC they could add a little bit more, which would be pretty good. Yeah, but so far, loving this game. I've put in somewhere between 25 and 30 hours. I've literally made hardly any progress. I got distracted playing Bloodborne and Overwatch, so yeah, I do need to go back to this. I haven't played it in weeks actually. Just yeah, like I said, Bloodborne and Overwatch have been taking up my time. But yeah, I honestly cannot wait to go back into this. And this is actually the first game where I've been able to make the character look like me. I don't know, for some reason Hogwarts Legacy has a pretty accurate looking character creation, and I've gotten close in other games, but yeah, definitely Hogwarts Legacy is the closest I've ever got to a real life main game. So I don't know, it feels definitely a little bit more immersive in that sense. And if you're wondering what house I'm in, I am in Ravenclaw. So yeah, great game. If you haven't picked this game up yet, I definitely recommend it. If you have a PlayStation 5, easily Game of the Year contender. So if that's way too, hey, that's way too. So yeah, brilliant game. Cannot wait to get back into it. Next up is another highly regarded game, and it's actually popped out. It's little CD holder, little disc holder. I'll put it back in, and it is God of War. So, God of War. Living as a man outside the shadow of the gods, Kratos, together with his son Atreus, must venture into the brutal Norse wilds and fight to fulfill a deeply personal quest. Discover an emotional and gripping tale of father and son. Journey to a dark elemental world of fearsome creatures. Conquer your foes in vicious close quarter combat. So yeah, pretty much everything about this game is almost perfect. I wouldn't rate it 10 out of 10 quite yet. Definitely like around 9 out of 10. Like I said, the close quarter combat is fantastic. It feels so good to control Kratos and just fight your enemies, you know, swinging around your rags, you know, Chaos Blades as well. It feels so good. And the story as well, like I said, emotionally gripping. It is, like, you really do become invested between this father-son dynamic, you know, the kind of cold, reserved father and the, you know, the son who's wanting more from his dad, you know. He wants more acceptance, he, you know, wants him to see him for who he truly is, you know. He wants to be like him, but in a better light. And it's, yeah, it's really, really, really good. I kind of went into this game kind of blind, not really knowing too much about, you know, the story, the combat, the world, and I'm really glad I did, because experiencing everything for yourself for the first time is truly breathtaking. Like, you know, finding the world servant for the first time and him talking, it is so good. Travelling to different realms, it's all fantastic, really. It's all fantastic. I've heard Ragnarok is even better, so definitely excited to pick up Ragnarok. I may have to wait a little bit to pick up that one though, because it's still quite expensive, a pretty penny. And I'm gonna, you know, I want to pick up Demon's Souls first. I'm gonna be picking up Resident Evil 4 remake this week. That comes out Friday. I played the demo, loved the demo because I played the original as well. I love the original. Resident Evil was probably my second favourite game series. First being Soulspawn, obviously. But yeah, this classic, definitely an essential PlayStation game. Like it says PlayStation Hit. I'm pretty sure it comes under its like Essentials playlist as well, for good reason. Yeah, love the world, love the storytelling, their characters as well. There's a lot of humour in this game actually. It's like good humour. It's not like MCU like cringe humour. It's really funny, especially between the dwarf twins and brothers. I don't know if they're twins. They might be brothers actually. Yeah, I don't think they are twins. The dwarf brothers who help you upgrade your armour, you know, your weapons. They're some great characters. Although I have seen the spoiler for the second game, which is sad, but you know, I won't. So yeah, God of War, fantastic game, fantastic. Still yet to finish it. That's the thing. I know I'm near the end. But I just got some other games. Like I was close to finishing this game, and then I got Hogwarts Legacy, and then I got stuck on playing Hogwarts Legacy, and then I got, you know, Bloodborne. I got stuck on playing Bloodborne. You know, I was playing Overwatch. God of War Ragnarok, fantastic game. Okay, so the final game I have is actually a game I haven't even played. And it's actually a game I got for my birthday over a month ago. My birthday is February 5th, and it is, I think it's like the 24th, no, it's March 21st right now, so almost 2 months later, and I'm still yet to play Spider-Man. Because again, when I got this game, I was playing God of War, and then I got Hogwarts Legacy, and I just never got around to playing a lot of Spider-Man. So this is Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Ultimate Edition. So it comes with Miles Morales, but it also comes with Spider-Man Remaster. I really want to play Miles Morales, but I feel like I have to give through Spider-Man Remaster first before playing Miles Morales. I probably don't have to, but let me know if I do. So yeah, I've literally played around like an hour, 30 minutes or so of Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Remaster. Just kind of like swinging around the city. It's good so far. I can't really say or speak much about Spider-Man because I am yet to play it. I really do just to get around to playing it. I've got a lot of games to play, a lot of games to play. See, that's the thing. I haven't got like a new console in a while. I kind of forgot when to get a new console. You just kind of buy a lot of games for it. So yeah. So be greater, be yourself. Experience the rise of Miles Morales as a new hero masters incredible, explosive new powers to become his own Spider-Man. Oh yeah, that's it. So probably another game. That's up for Game of the Year this year is Spider-Man 2, which I think is both with Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And the main villains are, I know Venom is one. I don't know who the other one is. Is it Green Goblin? I could be wrong. I definitely know Venom is one of them. So yeah, well, I've heard a lot of people praise these two games. So yeah, really just can't wait to play basically. So yeah, Spider-Man. There's still tons of other games I want to pick up. Ghost of Tsushima is again on top of my list as well. I really want to get Ghost of Tsushima, but again, it's an open world game, so a game that will take probably hundreds of hours to fully get through. So I'm really holding off getting Ghost of Tsushima right now, just because I've got a lot of games to get through. Hogwarts Legacy is an open world game, so I really do just need to get through them before buying any more. I need to hold back a little bit. I need to slow down a little bit with the PlayStation games, but there are just so many great ones. So I definitely see, the hype with PlayStation and Sony, exclusives. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. A little bit longer than I expected actually. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy looking at a few games. Talk about your favourite games down below as well. What games you're looking forward to coming out this year as well. Definitely Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom is my most anticipated game. Resident Evil 4 is probably next. I'm sorry to say my mic. A couple of hours probably that I'm forgetting right now. But yeah, pretty good year for gaming. Pretty solid year for gaming. So thank you all for watching this video. And yeah, I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. So